Right. Welcome everybody. Welcome to Gradeup. And here we are for a session on book reading. Now, that's a topic which generally puts people off. We are not really very interested in reading books. We have better ways of making sure that we stay entertained, right? For example, we can watch movies, listen to songs, watch videos, you have YouTube, and generally pass the time that we have. But if you are one of those who is targeting cat 21, whether it is because 20 cat 20 did not go your way, or because you are originally trying for cat 21, or you may be targeting 22 as well, or you are someone who is just interested in reading and enjoying the entire process, any which way, reading will remain extremely important, right? It's very unlikely that you would meet a person who scores very well, very highly in cat VARC section and does not have a reading habit. It's practically impossible, right? So Muhammad Haroon Rafi, hi Muhammad, good evening, good to have you here, right? Muhammad Haroon, so did you write cat? You're planning to write cat, or you are here just because you like to read? What exactly brings you here? Let me know. And if you're watching me on the app, then also of course you can send me your chats, right? We can discuss things there as well. So usually what happens is that a lot of students spend approximately the first couple of months in CAT preparation looking for shortcuts for the VARC section, right? They spend about half the time looking for shortcuts. They attend different courses, they take up different courses, they try different kind of tricks and methods to ace VARC section. And after spending and wasting quite a few months, they realize it's not taking place, it's just not happening, right? This year in CAT 2020, students scoring somewhere between 39 to 42 marks, depending on the scaling up or scaling down, got about 99 percentile in the VA section, right? Depending on the scaling up, one give and take, of course, out of the available marks, right? 78 marks. So that makes it approximately 50 to 50, 3 to 4% marks gets you into the top 1% of the total test takers. That tells you how hard the entire thing can become or can be, correct? And if you look for shortcut, then very clearly you return home disappointed, correct? Garima, hi Garima. Okay, you're preparing for MAT and TANSET. Okay, Muhammad. Garima, we will have a session on that also. Okay, I will have a session on IFTRC also. We already have planned it because the IFTRCs are a different ball game. This one is primarily for those targeting CAT in the long run, right? They have time to develop their reading habit. You understand? So thank you, Garima. If it helped, I'm really glad. We would have sessions on IFT for sure. Okay. All right, Naveen. Hello, Manoj Singh. Hello. But remember, guys, Sahil. Good evening. But please remember, guys, even if you're watching this video after the class is over, there is no shortcut to success. Let me use this cliched statement. Okay. मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. You will have to read a lot to develop the knack in language, which is required for a tough exam like CAT. Okay. So I usually because I've been doing for a long time, I usually have received all kind of queries from students. Okay. All kind of queries. So Tanay, hello Tanay. So what happens is students ask me all sort of questions. For example, one of the biggest questions I get is, sir, I don't like reading. मैं bore हो जाता हूँ. So can I like manage CAT without reading? Yes, it is manageable, depends on how much percentile you have in mind. The good thing about CAT is everybody gets a percentile, right? कुछ ना कुछ तो आएगा. But will that make you happy? Will that get you the college you have in mind? थोड़ा मुश्किल है. We can't guarantee that, right? For example, I solved all the 3 slot of CAT 2020 papers, and I came across these topics in the RC section. Just have a look at it. I just picked up the topic. Look at the width. Look at the expansiveness of the topics. Elephant seal, dialect, anarchy, Chinese currency, parts of speech, culture, piracy, aggression, renewable energy, economic crisis, human nature, modes of transportation, and feminism, and human contact. These were the kind of topics. Do you read about these topics on a day-to-day basis? न्यूज़पेपर खोलते हैं तो हमें चाइनीज करेंसी पढ़ने को मिलता है. Does your engineering or non-engineering course book have topics like human nature, economic crisis, mode of transportation, and feminism and human contact? Half the time people have no idea about the concept called feminism. क्या होता है? People think it's a gully, right? So I hope you understand, everyone, that if you are looking for a good percentile, if you want that 99, you have to be in the top 1% of the students. It takes something to get there, right? Richie, yes, I just took the broad view of the RCs. I just went through them and quickly picked up the topics, correct? So, if that is the range of RC topics, very clearly we have to read a lot. So the second question I get is, why read books, sir? I have an app. I read news articles and I read newspaper. Books क्यों पढ़ने को बोलते हो? Why do you have this obsession with books? Now very clearly we have an obsession because we have seen the benefits, right? For example, I write CAT every year, I write that every year, and I see reading helps. I have seen that for like more than a decade and a half, right? I'll give you an example also. I thought I'll give you an example to show why reading books help you extra. They help you in a different manner altogether, okay? Why reading newspapers and articles only may not be a good idea. So those of you watching me on YouTube, those of you watching me on app, even after the session is over, just imagine that this is you don't have to imagine actually, this is actually an editorial from Hindu. If you have to read this article, how much time would you take, guys? Can you tell me briefly, कितना time लगेगा to read this article and figure out what the author is saying? How much time would you take? Just give me the expected time. जल्दी से बताओ. Like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 1 minute, 1 second, whatever. Just tell me. 6 minutes, 3 minutes, 7 minutes. BYJU'S, Shritam, we have just started the session, no? So wait for the session to end, then you would get to know. So how much time, everyone? 7, 6, 5, 3 minutes, 7 minutes, 6 minutes. Fine. Okay. Fair enough. Now, what if you have these two headlines? Read the headlines, please. Now tell me, if you had the headlines before you started reading this, would you really require 7 minutes? Just read the headlines. Optimism unbounded. On signs of an economic recovery. Headlines. Subheadline. NSO projections of GDP seem overly optimistic even as the economy rebounds. Can I not say, can I not tell, can I not predict, can I not foresee what the author is going to say? क्या मुझे एहसास नहीं है? क्या मुझे पता नहीं चल गया what the author is going to say? Yes or no? Tell me, please. After you have the headlines and after you have the subheadlines, how much time would you take? Will you need to do extra efforts to understand what the author is saying? सच में मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी? What do you think? Tell me. क्या लगता है? Would you really need that kind of concentration to understand what the author is saying? What the author is saying is already written in the headlines, in the subheadlines. This entire article is now just an explanation of the headlines. ये जो headlines में लिखा है author उसको समझाएगा, पता है मुझे. Correct? Agreed? Now, try telling me the author's main point. I give you 1 minute. Please read this paragraph. This is from CAT 2020, third slot, one of the RCs, okay, on travel. Please read this paragraph and tell me what is the author's main point. Do you think you can figure it out in 2 minutes or 3 minutes? It's one paragraph of 3 paragraphs, okay, of one RC. Just spend a minute, guys. Just read it and tell me what the author is exactly trying to tell me. Do you think it is that easy without headlines or without sub-headlines? You understand what I'm saying? This is one paragraph from one of the RCs from CAT 2020 slot 3 paper. Just enjoy and tell me, how did you like it? Correct? Yes. Yogesh, I understand. Yes, it is difficult. It is very hard. है कि नहीं? Now, understand the difference. Why only reading newspapers and magazines may not be a good idea. In any magazine or newspaper, you would always come across articles with headlines and subheadlines. You already have a good idea about the author's main point before you start reading. But when you read a book, every page will throw up something which has no headlines or subheadlines. You have no idea what the author is saying. You have to read and then understand. And therefore, remember guys, when you read articles, I'm not against articles, okay? I'm not against newspaper. I fully support them, but they have a different purpose. Because you have in articles and newspapers, you have headlines and you just read the explanation part. Whereas in a book, you read and then you reach the main point. You try to understand the main point from your own angle. You're not guided by headlines or subheadlines. Correct? Status world. Status world, your name is not status world, I know. What is your name? Status world, that's your handle. वो आपका handle है, आपका नाम नहीं है, मुझे पता है. तो ये main point समझ आया सबको, मुद्दा समझ आया. What am I trying to explain? Why book reading is important? है ना? बात समझ में आ रही है? So it's not that I want you to read books just for the sake of it. There's a reason. Correct? Language सीखने का सबसे अच्छा तरीका book reading होता है. And very clearly, magazines and articles have their own place. Correct? दोनों करने की जरूरत है. Don't choose one over the other. ये नहीं करना है, मैं बस यही करूंगा. No, bad decision. Don't do only one thing. You have to do both. Remember, people, if you're targeting CAT 2021, you have about 322 days. Assuming CAT happens on 28 November 2021. Let's say you have 11 months, 10 months and 15 or 18 days. Just imagine if you could read one book per week. One book per week would mean you are targeting 40 books. Suppose you are not successful. You read only 35. Do you realize the difference 35 new books can make to your reading habit? समझ में आ रही है बात? कितना difference आ सकता है? But let me tell you, 95% of the students fail to read widely. They don't. They simply fail. उनसे होता ही नहीं है. छोड़ देते हैं. कोशिश नहीं करते. I don't want you to fall in that category. Target one book per 7 days. If you can't do it in 7 days, give yourself 10 days. 10 days it is doable. Pretty much. And I hope you understand why you need to read books. Correct? So, do you need to read non-fiction or fiction? That's one question I get very often. Should I read non-fiction or fiction? My suggestion is, if you are targeting CAT, then non-fiction has a priority because RC topics typically come from there. VA questions come from there. Read non-fiction more, but fiction can also be okay. For example, I'll recommend one fiction today also. Okay, but focus on non-fiction as much as you can. I hope you saw the topic. So average time per day would be 40 to 60 minutes is the minimum time. Beyond that, whatever you can devote, but 40 minutes to 1 hour is what I recommend. Anonymous. Okay, what's your name, Anonymous? Your name cannot be anonymous, I'm sure. Tanay, I'll just tell you. Correct. Remember, if you read consistently, it has 5 definite benefits. Definite 5. What are those? A, you become so aware of the world issues. आपको पता ही नहीं होता दुनिया में कितनी प्रॉब्लम्स चल रही है. What are the issues the world is facing? How to tackle them? You become aware of them, right? You become aware of a new range of vocab, new words. Epistemology. I saw that in CAT 2020 again. Epistemology. कभी पता ही नहीं था क्या होता है. Metaphysics, meta-analysis. ये क्या चीज है? You learn how to eliminate choices. कैसे? Because you understand the difference between words and sentences. Nuance. It makes you familiar with the topics that RCs come from. Correct? Gives you a basic background knowledge. Politics. I meet students very often, engineering students, and I ask them, okay, tell me the basic difference between communism and communalism. And students are stumped. पता ही नहीं होता है. कहते हैं, are they not same? Same होता है ना? अलग कब से हो गया? अलग कब से हो गया? Right? They're just not aware. कभी सोचा नहीं, कभी पढ़ा नहीं, because it was not part of their syllabus. They never studied. They did not know. Right? So people have heard of what happened between Israel and Palestine. Why are they fighting? They are fighting, they know. But why are they fighting? Nobody has any clue. And then you have WAT, and then you have GD, and then you have PI. And in the second stage, and you are stumped. पता नहीं क्या बोलना है, क्या लिखना है. I have no idea. That knowledge build-up is very, very important. Correct? Gives you the basic background. And of course, packs you up with data, facts, and viewpoints. You can argue so much well. अभी हमारा सारा argument होता है WhatsApp knowledge पे, है ना? 36% of Indians are scientists at NASA. किसने बताया? WhatsApp में. That's how we argue. We have no freaking idea about what is the real data in the world. Correct? Manas, I'll just mention, don't worry. अभी मैं दिखाता हूँ. I have the list ready for you guys. है ना? Once I show you the books, I'll take your leave. But remember guys, if you come back and tell me next time that I have read and I have liked and I did not like, and you tell me more books, I would be glad to tell you more books. Right? But only if you guys put in the efforts, तो मजा आएगा. If I come and tell you 5 books and I vanish and then you do not read, no fun. Correct? When you put in efforts, then the fun begins. Correct? बहुत मजा आएगा. Yes. Or Oroshish Panda. Yes. Absolutely. 100%. Eon essays are very good. Please go through them. Today in one of the sessions in the app, I suggested that. I would do that also in coming classes. Definitely. You can do that. Okay. Oh, anonymous is Ankit. Okay. Nice. So, moving on. Another question I get very often is, should I read online or offline? Mix. Best is mix. Read books offline if you can. But if the book is very expensive, you can probably read offline. Just download and read. Okay. Now, personal preference is there. Some people can't really manage reading online. I can't read online, for example. Old habit. I read offline. But if you can manage, most welcome. You have an iPad or you have a Kindle, phone, whatever. So you're most welcome, right? So you can do anything, right? But if you can manage it on a laptop, etc., it builds you that habit, because cat is going to be online. So, but you can choose any, no problem. Manoj, most of the books are available free. Okay. I won't recommend you any website, but they are all available very freely, right? I think you guys are smart enough to figure out, है ना? Yogesh, that's a different session altogether. Download the Gradeup. Oh, you are already on the app. आपको session मिल जाएगा उसके ऊपर, and we would discuss that during the course also, है ना? वो अलग question actually. It's a different question you're asking. Nikhil, no. Audiobooks are not a good idea. Audiobooks do not help you with the vocab part. It does not show you the nuances. You do not learn the linking of words with one or the other. You do not look at the prepositional usage. You do not look at the phrasal verbs. You don't really see and learn. You usually only hear and learn. Audiobooks are not great for us who are targeting exams like CAT. But if you want to learn about the book, if you want to drive and listen to the book, maybe okay, but not otherwise. Okay. All right. Anurag, it's a long question you have asked me, and not in the right session. Okay, I would want to answer you, but Anurag Mohanty, but it's a different question altogether. थोड़ा सा मुश्किल है अभी आंसर करना, है ना? We'll go off track, but I would want to. So maybe you can post it in the Telegram group that we have. You can get an answer there. Okay. So if you have read any of these, well done. If you have not, start. Okay. These two books have probably made histories in terms of sales. He's an Israeli historian, Israeli citizen historian. And in this book, the person gives you an overview of what has been the history of humans and why so, the entire logic behind the entire evolution part. And in the Homo Deus, he discusses how tomorrow is going to be. But remember, there are a lot of speculations in the book. Okay, this person in the second book, Homo Deus, he guesses a lot in terms of what is likely to be the scenario. Will it really happen? We do not know. The future is by definition unpredictable, correct? But both books can help you with what has happened and what is likely to happen in terms of how the world is changing, how the world has changed. So you get a huge amount of information at one place, gives you a very different way of looking at the world. Beautiful books to start with, good language, right? He's a historian of merit, so naturally very good language. Try these as fast as you can, and try to finish them. Even if you find some sections of Sapiens a little slow, you can just push on. Probably, just look at the important points and then simply flip the page. Okay, it's like a book where it's like a movie where some parts are not great, maybe. No problem, just flip through. आगे बढ़ जाओ, है ना? All right, my unique video kingdom, long time, huh? Now this book I highly recommend for the simple reason that, oh yes, Chotu, you can do that, but they don't help you in terms of language. Okay, so try these books. मैंने बहुत सोच समझ के books का एक list बनाया है. It would help you in terms of language also. Okay, if you read very basic books, it doesn't really help you with your language. It doesn't push you in terms of language and comprehension, है ना? So remember, guys, this factfulness. Hans Rosling was a doctor, researcher. He's no more now. In 2000, I had read half the book earlier. I finished it last month. This is January, last month. And in this book, he basically tells you that the world is not going to the dogs. The world is not really becoming worse. It is in fact becoming better. It's just that we don't look at the data. And he tells you how to look at the data to figure out the reality. So in place of reading WhatsApp messages and arguing with your friends, you basically look at the data and argue. Okay. In this book he wrote in 2017, and the book he says there are 5 major issues we might face in the world, and we are not really prepared for it maybe. And number 1, he said, was a pandemic, a global pandemic, right? based on his understanding of data. Amazing book, highly recommended. Okay, read this. It would help you change in a look at a different way, change your perspective for sure. Yogesh, not really. Unless you have someone to check your writing, no point writing. It won't help you much. Okay. Okay, Unique Kingdom. That's nice. Welcome. You're welcome. Now this one is very interesting, especially if you are a person who likes to understand cryptography. Now you would worry, or you might think, why would I recommend you a book on cryptography? Cryptography, you understand, right? Coding, decoding messages. Simon Singh is basically a PhD and writes books, amazing books. And he has written a history of cryptography. This again, even if you are a sciencey, you are a student of history, student of sociology, it doesn't matter. Read this book because it exposes you to a new set of information, vocab, how the world has been trying to make information coded or trying to decode it, right? How the Enigma machine was broken during World War II, the entire history is given. Beautiful book, challenges you in many directions. Highly recommended. Read, buy, download, whatever you do, but make sure you read. Okay. Third recommendation. Now let me tell you, I cheated. I did not come up with 10 books. It's slightly more than that. Okay. मुझसे रहा नहीं गया, so I just added 2-3 extra. Now, if you are a person who keeps on thinking about religion in the sense, does God exist? Is he really there? If he is there, then why X happens? Why Y happens? So and so. You have a lot of queries. This is a very good book to start with. Does he know a mother's heart? I hope you can see here he is in capital. Okay. A good book on this capital, he represents God. You know that, right? So this is a book by Arun Shourie, a very, very well written book in terms of questioning the basics of religious faith, right? If there is a compassionate God, then why does he allow suffering, and so on and so forth. So very beautifully written book, challenges a lot. But yes, you can be fast wherever you get stuck. तुम्हें लगता है अब मुझसे नहीं पढ़ा जा रहा. Be quick. Takes you back to a lot of historical things also. Correct. Aman quote, being different is hard. Not everybody's cup of tea. I am recommending books that are readable by most of you. Obviously, the book can be endless. The list can be endless. The books are endless. But I am being very choosy here. If I recommend something very hard to begin with, मुश्किल हो जाएगी, है ना? That is why. Prashu, all these, Nikhil, no. Lennon Martin may not be a great book to start with. Initially, it may give you a trouble because it's pretty dry. तो काफी लोगों को प्रॉब्लम होती है. Straight away शुरू करना थोड़ा सा not advisable रहेगा. Manas, I think you are facing issue on your own only. Nobody else is facing it. Maybe some problem on your side. Now, as you guys know, this word has become almost a gali, right? People think being feminist is practically gali. Oh, she's a feminist, he's a feminist, right? This book opens up your eyes to the basic concept of feminism. Essentially, what it says is that female and male, because that's the two genders this book talks about, that females and males are not same, okay? They're not physiologically same, anatomically same, but they are equal. Now, this is a beautiful concept. They're not same, but they're equal. And that's basically what feminism is all about, right? So do not consider them as same, but consider them as equal. Very well written book, makes you aware of what feminism is all about. Very well done work by Nivedita Menon. Highly recommended because you guys are, as it is, going to read a lot of stuff on that. RCs aa jate iske upar. This year we had a geography and feminism mixed in one RC, travel RC, correct? So make sure you go through it. It's a thin book. You can read very fast. Okay. Next one, Malcolm Gladwell will make you think about anything and everything you know. So he challenges everything that is taken for granted. right? And a great book, David and Goliath. If you have not read, I highly recommend you read it. Now remember, these books are chapter based, so you can pick and choose. आपको फर्स्ट चैप्टर मजा आ रहा है पढ़ लो, आपको लास्ट चैप्टर मजा आ रहा है पढ़ लो, आपको बीच का चैप्टर नहीं अच्छा लग रहा छोड़ दो, नो प्रॉब्लम. करेक्ट. Nikhil, watch the initial part of the video. I think you have missed that part. Okay, I have covered that question already. Okay. Now, this author would make you think like a different person altogether. You would probably, look at every question differently after reading his books. He is very famous for writing in such a manner, right? Try the book out. You would love it. Next one, it's a fiction. Okay, the only fiction in this list. But I recommend this book primarily because of the language. Absolutely beautiful, and you understand, you get that classy language, elegant prose, right? You look at the usage of words, framing of sentences, you read one page twice if needed, and you enjoy the book. This book is for enjoyment, okay? So don't read it fast. Aaram se padho, keep it with you for 15 days and enjoy a couple of pages per day. It's 350-ish kind of a 400 pages book. So maybe you would need some time, some months to finish, but enjoy the book. It helps you build your language so well. Okay. And remember guys, this book list is not enough. It is just a starting point. If you're looking for a shortcut and you're watching this video, you might be disappointed because I'm pushing you towards long haul. ज़्यादा मेहनत करने के लिए बोल रहा हूँ. Right? So it's not 5 minute में RC सीखें. It's not going to happen. No, it's not happening. I hope it is clear. है ना? Next one. Philosophy is one topic where from CAT typically asks 1 RC per year. Even that does. Philosophy से एक आ ही जाता है. Because none of us really read philosophy as part of our course or for that matter anything else. I highly recommend reading this book, How the World Thinks, because this author actually talks about philosophical traditions across non-Western world also. Because generally हम philosophy मान के चलते हैं. We believe that philosophy is only Western. Eastern philosophy from let's say the Japanese part or the Chinese part of the world or Indian part of the world, they don't count. This book covers all that. So you become familiar with the vocab, familiar with the language, and you become familiar with so much new in terms of philosophy, जो पता ही नहीं होता हमें पहले, right? And it would build the base for RCs in philosophy. Base, बहुत अच्छा. Okay, moving on quickly. Now, this one is highly recommended for the simple reason that since 1947 till 2010, this book covers the entire history of India in the way that no other book can. Now remember, you might feel that somewhere Ramachandra Guha is probably enamored by Nehru's charismatic personality, which is okay because he sees the role of a leader in the nation building in a different manner. In fact, he realizes that a leader is very important in nation building, and Nehru was in that role, right? So he has probably a soft corner for Nehru. But if you look at his writing, it is like a personal story being told to you. But remember, don't get intimidated by the size of the book. It's a thick one, 800 to 900 pages, I guess. I recommend that you read the book one chapter at a time. Okay? तो पूरी book एक बार cover to cover नहीं finish करना है. So you want to know about what happened during 1962 war with China? Open that chapter and read. You want to know what happened during emergency? Open the chapter and read. You want to know why India became bankrupt practically during when P.V. Narasimha Rao became the Prime Minister of India? Read that particular chapter. You want to know what happened when Janata Dal came into power? Read that chapter. Enjoy the book. It would build your information base. Language is beautiful and you would become aware. And second stage in CAT would be much easier with this kind of knowledge. I recommend that you buy this book. Okay, it's available as paperback now, pretty cheap, and collectible. Okay. Yes, nursing astrology. What I said was that philosophy is understood to be only Western. Okay. Whereas the author of that book starts by saying that that's what he thought all his life, but that he discovered that philosophy as it is found in Eastern world is more ancient and more expansive than Western philosophy. And that is why he covers that. Okay, I hope the point is clear. Now, biology is one area where a lot of us have very big weak area, correct? Bill Bryson is the author to read. Read this book. I, for example, am not very keen to read biology. I somehow can't really manage much of it. But I enjoyed this book. I loved it. It makes the entire thing so easy. Like, understanding different parts of the body, what do they do, what their functions are in easy language. So builds the base. But you also get to know so many new words and so much of information. Every page in this book is full of information. You would be like, अच्छा ये भी होता है, पता ही नहीं था यार. I had no idea. Correct? I hope the part is clear. He is a terrific author. Read, though he has written more books, but I am recommending only one. Though I'm tempted to recommend more, but करूँगा नहीं अभी. Okay? We are almost through, everyone. We are almost through. Now, one book on world history, very important. I would tell you one which is known as the funniest book on world history. This book is funny. Okay, you may not get it in the paperback form, or you might get it, but it might be very costly. So look around, download. Okay, one of the best books you can read on world history, written in the funniest way possible. So it is not very hard, and you can. It's a 350s kind of book. You can be very fast with the world history. Knowledge base, information, facts, right, at your fingertips. Now, this is one of the most important books I read in 2020. Okay, and highly recommend it for the simple reason Tara Kaushal is the author. This is a very different take on why men who rape. Right? It's a subject that is highly misunderstood. People who tend to claim that rapists should be hanged, they do not understand what this entire phenomenon is, and therefore their arguments are generally hollow. This book, remember, this book could have been written better. Okay, the editing is not very good, but it's a book that opens up so much in terms of information, in terms of perspective, that you should read this book if you are targeting especially exams like CAT, where the RCs come from different kind of areas, right? And you need to have a good understanding of command over language. It also makes you more sensitive towards issues like this, right? Highly recommended. Okay. I use Nikhil Rocky. I use Amazon. और कहाँ से? Right. Now I think this is the last book of for the evening. In this year CAT 2020, if I remember correctly, there was one essay or one article which was a review of the book. Okay, review of this book. So that gives you some idea that it's an important book to read. And this book has a very different take. इसका नजरिया बिल्कुल अलग है. This book essentially says that humans are kind. Do you notice, guys, that he has not written humankind together? एक साथ नहीं लिखा हुआ है. Though the name is humankind, but उसने जानबूझ के अलग किया है. This separation is intentional. What he says in the book is that we humans are not animals to each other. We are kind. That's our instinct. Now just imagine if we start believing that we humans are kind to each other, so much of conflict can go away, right? Even if we just start believing in it, because we don't. We think we all are animals to each other, as the philosopher Hobbes said, correct? This book is a challenge to all that belief, that humans are not really animals to each other. We are really kind to each other. Correct? He calls Homo sapiens as Homo puppy in the book. Very interesting book. I finished the book in like probably 4 days or 3 days, despite my schedule. Okay. So now, quickly, 1 more minute. I recommended about 13 to 14 books, maybe. Does it mean reading all 14 books will make you a 99 percentile in CAT? No. Does it mean if you don't read these books, you would not get 99 percentile? I don't know. It's quite possible you would still get. But what would these 13 or 14 books do? If you have not been reading regularly, if you have not been someone who has read earlier, these books can give you that flip or that trigger, which can make you a more avid reader. Now, last question. Suppose you start a book, Humankind, and after 2 or 3 chapters, you don't like the book. What do? 2 options. Quickly glance through it, right? Or you stop reading it, no problem. But pick up a different one. Always remember, stopping because you did not like it is like going to a gym and saying, I can't do push-ups and therefore I would not exercise. You can't do push-ups, no problem. You start doing probably bench press. Do something else. But don't stop exercising. And if you are going to gym, don't think you join today and tomorrow you would be Ronnie Coleman, right? Mr. Olympia. It will take time. They took like 10, 15 to 20 years. You would need at least 10 months. But what you can do is you can read like a maniac, read 1 book per week and do it for like 4 months and then see the difference. You would see the difference. Without anybody telling you, you would see the difference. Words would make more sense, sentences would make more sense to you. You would understand the entire paragraph more easily. आप खुद ही कर लोगे, मुझे बताने की जरूरत नहीं है. I hope you found the session useful. I hope, more importantly, you would read what I recommended. And if you don't, it's okay. But you would find something else which you find interesting and you would read that, okay? But the moot point is you would read. I hope you would do that. Yes, everyone. I enjoyed interacting with you guys. Let me know. Okay, there looks like there is some issue in the video. Okay. Harsh, I have ordered that. Kanak, yes, of course you can do that, right? I have ordered the Obama's new book. I'm likely to get it tomorrow. Though I have the PDF, but I don't read PDF. I just can't manage. Okay. So thank you guys for joining. Right. I enjoyed taking the session a lot. Let me know what else I can help you with. Let me know the topics. Okay. And Oroshish Panda, any book you want. कुछ भी शुरू कर लो. Explore. Okay. Explore. There would be more sessions. If you're targeting IFT, etc., I would come up with a session on that also. We have a series of sessions on that. All right, everyone, do like and subscribe, and notification bell is important. You would get to know more when more sessions take place. All right, and we have started courses as well on the Gradeup app. So if you do not have the app, please download, and you can join me there as well. There are a lot of sessions by a number of faculty members there, which you can attend free of cost, and then you can also join the program. Okay. Oh yes, Ashutosh, definitely. It's entirely language based. No, all the VA questions are language based only. Okay. Chalo, I'll see you then, everyone. Thanks a lot. Do read and read like crazy. Richie Rohan, that's awesome. But I just read your comment, so I think it's too late now. Okay, everybody. I'll see you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.